Andrew Tino here. It's summertime in South Georgia, and the only thing hotter than being outside is the hot deals at Mike Birch Ford. With up to $12,000 off new F-150s, there's no better time than now to purchase the truck of your dreams. So stop the search and call Mike Birch Ford today.
Well, here we are on a Thursday morning, Big Dog Country Radio, WIFO 105.5 FM in Jesup. And looking for just a hot scorcher day today, just like yesterday. Mid-90s, heat index of about 105. And always that chance of afternoon and evening showers. The altimeter those at 9.4 feet. It's now time for the world-famous Butch and Bob Show, brought to you by Murphy Builder Supply on Northeast Broad Street in downtown Jesup. Jesup Premium Storage out here on the Waycross Highway, and by Mike Birch Ford in Blackshear. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning.
Yes, that is a good-looking Georgia shirt you got right there.
I like it.
And where'd you get it at?
David's Clothing.
David's Clothing in downtown Jesup. Shop locally, folks. But that is a good-looking shirt. And Georgia getting ready to begin. Georgia Southern, all the football teams getting ready. And as y'all mentioned, preseason game tonight down at Everbank Field in Jacksonville, right?
Take on the Saints. 12 NFL preseason games today.
Wow, amazing. Well, we're going to talk education this morning. We got Dr. Jay Brinson, the school superintendent for Wayne County, in this morning. Good morning, Jay.
Good morning.
Or should I say Dr. Brinson?
Well, this is about to become coach.
Well, this is you're as the school superintendent, so we'll just call you Dr. Brinson this morning, okay? Bob, go ahead.
I was going to talk about East Boston, about the proposed 5 mil increase by the county. So I guess we got to go back and begin, because that's where I want to begin. Before the county passed their SPLOS, there was a big meeting at the airport. Everybody got together, government officials, business leaders, how the strategy was going to play out. And there was a decision made at that time, which was going first. And the school system was asked by all the officials, let the county go first, let them get their SPLOS passed, and then we'll get behind the school board's SPLOS next November, 110%. So that is how the strategy played out, but now it hasn't panned out as what the promise. That's what I think. That's the story Mike Roberts mentioned the other night at the county commission meeting. It seems like someone here didn't keep their word. So I just want to get your thoughts. You feel like you got blindsided like I do?
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, a year ago we were, because I think I heard Butch mention the other day, the optimal time for the Board of Education to put this on referendum was last November. Historically, when you put an item before voters and it's only that item or maybe one other for votes, it tends to go a little bit better for you. So that's what our plans were. We were prepared, the list of projects. We'd had already discussed and done a bunch of homework. And when we began those discussions, it came to our attention that the county and city were planning on renewing theirs at that time. And so we did have a gentleman's agreement. There were discussions there with a lot of figureheads, including, I want to say 3 county commissioners were there in those meetings, along with Mr. Mike Deal and the mayor. A lot of folks were there just hashing it out. And, we are all Wayne County, and it was decided that it was better for them not to go both on at the same time, and that the city and county needed to do theirs first, because theirs did run out earlier than ours. Ours runs out this coming June of 19. Theirs ran out, I think, last year, so they were going to be without one. So, that was a pretty easy decision, even though it was not, the best for the Board of Education and the school system. But, we felt confident in our projects and what we plan on trying to accomplish in these next 5 years with the renewal, the continuation of that penny. And so we agreed to do that. But those discussions were had that, we will support you, do everything we can to do that, and won't get on top of you with anything else. And so, to hear that they're, looking to raise the millage 5 mills, that's disappointing. But those guys are elected to do a job. But to say they're not going back on the word, I'll disagree with that. That's inaccurate. Obviously, you tell somebody that you're going to support the East Plus that's coming up. I just disagree with anybody that says that's a good thing. That's going to help us pass it by increasing, the county millage 5 mills. Bills are probably going to go out about the time early voting is going on. That's not going to encourage me to, my taxes are going up 5 mills. Oh yeah, let me vote for another one. That doesn't make sense to me. But that's just me. That's my opinion.
And that's a big debate going on right now. Me and Butch talked about, and I agree with Mike Roberts. I think a 5 mil increase, if it's passed, to me, simply kills the SPOS vote. I mean, that's what Mike Roberts feels. Ed Jeffers disagrees. Butch disagrees. I mean, as school superintendent, what do you think? I
don't think it kills it. I'm not going to say it kills it. It doesn't help it. It doesn't support it. Again, it is two separate taxes. I agree. I think Butch was talking about that yesterday. I agree.
It's a continuation of the.
It is a continuation.
It's just a continuation. It's an additional. It's just a continuation. But it's hard for folks to go in there and say, "Well, I'm going to get back at the county by not voting for it."
No, you're not saying people wouldn't do that, especially when I'm very confident and proud of what the Board of Education and prior boards of education and superintendents have been able to do historically with the education system and the use of that E-SPLOS. We're fixing to complete the building of $25 million worth of schools over the last 5 years, and in the next 12 months, we're going to be paid that off completely. Okay, we're not going to, without borrowing any money, without wasting any taxpayers' money by taking out any notes or borrowing money, because when you borrow money, it's not free. So I'm proud of that. Now, we have other projects, which is really what I want to talk about today.
And what would these going to be used for?
Right, and just kind of lay that out. We're going to, we ain't really started the campaign full speed ahead. We're just trying to get school started, but I did want to make sure, since the conversation has started, I want to make sure everybody understands what we're trying to do as a school system, and I just hope everybody can differentiate between what the county and the city does and what the Board of Education does with this 1 cent tax that we're asking to renew in November.
Again, the referendum's been laid out. It's been publicized. The big project is the renovation of James E. Bacon. I mean, that's the one school that's not being built at Brady School. People ask, why not just build another new school? Why renovation James E. Bacon when you build a new one for Scriven, new one in Odom, new one in Jesup, new one for Arthur Earl Smith? People at James E. Bacon say, what about us? Why don't we get a new school?
And that's a great question, and that's the reason, I'm going to hope I can slide in here every 2 or 3 weeks up into the election, and I hope the texts come in, and any questions that you have, I'll be glad to answer.
Let me go ahead and give the number then. If you have any questions or comments, text us. You can't call us, but you can text us, because we're talking. We can't answer the phone, but we can read a text that comes on the computer screen. Text us with your questions or comments at 912-427-3711. 427-3711. You text the questions, comments in, and then we can read them on the air, and Dr. Brinson can answer them, or you can just make a comment, as long as it's within reason.
To go back to that question about why aren't we the plans to build a new James E. Bacon as opposed to a renovation or modernization is what it's actually called that we're planning for. The state of Georgia participates in the building of schools. I mean, they have a responsibility, and that's why we pay state taxes for those types of things. And in this particular project, because James E. Bacon, parts of that school, parts of it are very old, but there's parts of it that were added on, parts of it that are fairly new. So when we compared building building a brand new James E. Bacon, the state would only participate about $1 million. I'm using round numbers, but it was about $1 million to do this modernization plan, which means they go in and look at the parts that have to be upgraded, have to get up to code, and things they're going to participate in. The renovation of the gym, that's a big renovation. They participate in that fully, so that's how we earn money that they will give us. That money, and you earn that yearly, so we have to wait a whole another year before we max that earnings out. But they're going to participate $4.5 million, and that's a round number, about $4.5 million of state money. No E-SPLOS money, no local money. So 4.5 is definitely more than 1. So so we have some other things that we really need to get accomplished in this next E-SPLOS. We're really on fumes, in some areas to maintain the infrastructure of the school system to provide, top-notch opportunities for our children. So that's the reason we went with this modernization project. We feel like we can take that $4.5 million and add another, $7 million is kind of what we have earmarked. That's $11.5 million that we can put into James E. Bacon to have it up to par with all 4 the other elementary schools. We built Odom Elementary, it was right at $11 million brand new. So we're going to put about that same amount into James E. Bacon, which is a somewhat bigger school. But we feel like we're going to change the entrance, take care of all that drop-off, pick-up problems that we've had, ever since it's been there, expand out that playground area. Hope to even have an additional practice softball field, adjacent to the Barbara Struck field there now that the softball teams can use, the elementary school can use kind of as a play field. All that can be taken care of, and that, again, about $11 million project.
Will that be added on as school's going on?
That's a good question. We will have school at James E. Bacon while this project's going on. They will have to do it in phases. My understanding is the way that will work is they'll do all the new construction while school's going on, kind of like we did Odom Elementary. We put a whole new school right behind it, so we'll have things fenced off, walled off, because the new front of the school, if you can picture it, it's actually gonna face the old high school parking lot.
Oh, it is.
So the entrance to the tech center where we have our board meetings, that's actually going to face the new front of the school.
Okay.
All right. So that
face gym parking lot.
Correct.
Right.
And so that parking lot right there, if you can picture it, that's going to be the new pickup drop-off area.
A lot more rooms at a time of the
So
road.
there'll be a new central office area with support.
And the current board building is going to be taken down, all right, demolished. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's kind of where that other practice field, playground, possible parking, that sort of thing.
That's why the board moved the Board of Education over to the...
Yes, we've completed that move over to the old Martha Ross Smith Elementary. The board office there, we're operating there. There's nothing at the old board office now. We're just cleaning it up.
I assume they demolish that building. That's going to be...
It'll be there. We'll wait to...
School's out.
Yes, we'll probably wait till the next summer to start moving around on that. It depends on what, once we put out bids and, the contractor gets on point and decides what needs to be done first during that time frame.
So that's the big project, but there are other projects listed in the referendum, so go ahead and outline where the rest of the money will go if these SPOS passes.
Well, the first thing we have to do is we're going to have to replenish and, our fund equity and get it back up to speed. So that's about back up where it should be. It's recommended to have, in the neighborhood of 15% fund equity just, for rainy day funds, downturn in the economy. So that's about $4 million that we've got earmarked for that. 7 for the James E. Bacon project, and then we tentatively allocated $2 million over the next 5 years for buses. So we just spent $13 million right there.
They voted for air-conditioned buses. How much is? I can't remember the figure, but
it's about an extra. It's just under $10,000 a bus. I think it was $9,000 a bus. So that's an extra expense, but that's something the board has decided, and so we're going to have some buses, and we get some other benefits out of it too. So, in some of the parking lot area, again, adding on to James E. Bacon to get it like it needs to, we'll have to do some money out of East Plus to get it where we need it to be, and we want to write. So we have earmarked some extra money there for parking lots, the practice fields that I mentioned, just to make sure we can get it where it's supposed to be. Of course, the track project that we've been talking about. It seems like every board meeting we talk about the track project, but we'll have to gear that up and get that taken care of. We got $1.5 million for that, and then we've talked about a lot of other things. We have to take care of the gym floor. It's that point of we're just being lucky getting by with what we have there. That's got to be replaced. But you're looking at maybe $250,000 there, maybe a little less. Maybe 150. You might get about 150 to 250 for a gym floor. The high school, people forget, it's over 15 years old, so, we have to, again, that entitlement program is what it's called with the state. An air conditioning unit for the high school is going to run about $1 million. If we can get by for a couple more years and get to 20 years, they'll give us about $800,000 on that $1 million project. So that's why you kind of put Band-Aids and bubble gum on things for a few years to make them to get by. But we have allocated $250,000 for that project. It's just at the end of its life, and those types of things that are just paving, parking lots. You have to attend to those, otherwise they just crumble and go away. So those types of things, you start getting into hundreds of thousands of dollars. So we're projected to raise $16-17 million with our current economy the way it is for us to digest. And so right there, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. And there's some other things we'll try to do that we think we might can take care of out of M&O. With having new buildings certainly helps us with some of the things that you take out of your maintenance program when you have new products.
Tell us about the move from the headquarters, the Board of Education, over to the old Martha Ross School.
Yeah, well, that's something that's been going on for 2 years. We don't have any money at the budget for that. So that's just been out of our maintenance and operations. We're just blessed that we have folks like Jackie Peebles and a lot of other folks with the leadership of Ray Morris and David Simmons. They've kind of pieced that together. When they have some downtime during the year, they come over here and been working on it. We've made that front hall. We've kind of divided it up, and everybody's in that front hall area, right there adjacent to Pine Street. It was the band room, then it was the media center. That's even going to be a meeting room that houses 2 offices down there. So we're all centrally located.
And it's great that the Board of Education decided to do that because, you had that building that was sitting there, it was empty because, you got a new school. You hated to see it just kind of just sit there and just mothball. Right. And now it's going to be a nice modern, as modern as possible because the building is old. And it makes the Pine Street area and the community look good.
I think so. And they've done some things with, just paint and dressing it up. And, we'll put a little bit of money into it maybe in a couple of years just to pretty it up a little more. But it's very functional. I'm excited about everyone being in one place where you can, have those quick meetings when you need to, or you can get a hold of somebody when you need to. But it's working fine. I'm proud of it.
All right, got Dr. Jay Brinson in here this morning, school superintendent for Wayne County. And Jay, you ready for the questions?
Yeah, I asked for them. Yes,
they're coming. All the blue you had to see, they're coming. Someone just said they're not going to vote for the continuation of the E-Splosh. And then the next person says, in reference to the E-Splosh, ride through any gas station or Walmart or downtown and all that area. All people shopping and stopping here in Wayne County help us pay for these projects.
Absolutely.
So if these projects are going to be done, which they have to be done eventually, either out-of-towners are going to pay, what did we figure on that, Bob, one time? Is it a third?
I think it's 30-something%.
30-something%. It's about a third of the monies that come in on E-Splosh come from out-of-towners. And, folks, as I mentioned yesterday, they'll drive over to Glenn County, they'll drive to Chatham County, they'll drive to Ware County and Liberty County and shop there, and they've got the E-Splosh. So if you're going to, about 65% of all retail dollars in small communities are spent out of town. So you're paying it somewhere else, so you're helping support those counties, so let's help support ours. That's just the way I look at it.
Yeah,
to me, the sales tax, E-Splosh is or any type of splosh like that is the most fair tax.
Absolutely, and there's a reason why every county in the state of Georgia has a
E-Splosh. Yeah, and we put ourselves at a big disadvantage if we don't because, all the other schools have been modernized. It's time for James E. Bacon and then all these other maintenance projects that need to be done.
Right, and that's the only way those projects will be accomplished. Just for the numbers' sake, an E-Splosh generates about $16-17 million in a 5-year period. We could only raise millage 2 mills to go to 20. We're at 18 now, and would love to lower it, but 2 mills, that's only about $1.5 million. So over a 5-year period, I guess you could say, okay, you generate $7.5 million.
7.5 for E-Splosh versus we're going up 2 mills at just a little over $1 million. Is what you're saying, right?
Right.
And because that goes into the next question here. If the E-Splosh is not voted in for continuation of it, will the board have to raise millage rate? Well, you can only raise it 2 more, and you can only raise just a fraction of the money that you would with an E-Splosh.
That's correct.
That we've had an E-Splosh now for the last decade?
Or
longer?
Yes. This is E-Splosh 3 or 4, I forget.
Yeah, and
we've had one going, and we have voted one down, and in my opinion, I don't think we've recovered since. That's a lot of money to not have.
And hopefully, I could never can find anybody out there, elected official, let me know when the T-Splosh goes off, the transportation splosh. But then I did have a commissioner who texted in yesterday, said that it's supposed to be for 10 years. I'm not sure how long it's been in right now, but we did get the overpass from that and so forth. And hopefully that'll be going off before long. Let's see here. Y'all go ahead and talk. Let me see if I can figure this out.
And I'll just remind everybody else something that the school system combats that the other entities actually do not have to is the 65 and over tax exemption that we have in place. That cost us cost the school system about $2 million. Right. I think it's 1.6 this year a year that we don't bring in.
Right.
So that's something else that we voted in that I can't find another system that has a total 65 and over exemption with no cap, no kind of stipulations. It's just a total exemption.
Wayne County is kind of unique on that.
Most of them have a cap.
Very unique. I checked in that. No other county in the state of Georgia has that.
None. Just us, where you get 65 and above, and you don't have to pay school taxes.
$2 million a year, that's a lot of money.
All right, the next question here, this person said the voters should pass the E-Splosh. The Board of Education and the prior Board of Educations have been fiscally responsible with the taxpayers' money and have actually have a fund balance in 2008. So the Board of Education actually furloughed all staff to keep them raising taxes and not have to take out a TAN that would cost taxpayers more money. So basically what they're saying there is the fact back when things were really tight for the Board of Education, y'all did a rotating furlough to be able so you didn't have to raise taxes.
Well, for most, that's totally correct, totally accurate. And we, the Board of Education at that time did that, and we asked our employees to just, to kind of suck it up, and we furloughed for multiple years, and that was a lot of money. You're talking about 10 days, 8 days. I think I figured it up. That was about, percentage-wise, that was also about $2 million not going into our economy. So when we have to do things like that, it affects, being the largest employer, 800 employees, that affects the whole county. So,
A lot of families were hurt by that because
sure,
both the husband and wife sometimes were teachers.
Right.
So it was pretty tough.
But that was done to make sure, just what that person said, that we did not have to go and take a tax anticipation note out that again, costs money. We just, again, balanced the books. And, I just commend the superintendents during that time and the boards of education that made that decision. And we've always done that. So that's what I hope that folks will remember. We are handling these taxpayers' funds in a fiscally responsible manner.
Okay, another question was, let's see here. Why was there money spent out of the general funds to finish off the Martha Rawls Middle School? Was there general funds other than the E-Splosh spent on on the Martha Rawls School?
Yes. So we don't generate. We built $25 million worth of schools in these 5 years, and that was, I guess our 5-year facility plan has taken us, I think, 15 years to complete, or actually more now, because we don't generate enough E-Splosh. We only generated about $16, $17 million. That's been about the trend. So just that tells you, 25. We had to make up that gap. Now, the state participated in that sum, but we, again, that began before I took over 4 years ago as superintendent. They knew that when they started the projects, there was going to be a gap, so they worked hard to build up a large fund equity, a fund balance. I think it got up to maybe $9 or $10 million, but now, quickly, as the Martha Rawls project is almost complete, that's back down actually below what's recommended for us to carry as a fund balance. That's the reason I mentioned earlier about, passing E-Splosh. We would need to, and that's listed on the referendum, put some money back in our fund equity just to make sure we have, funds for a rainy day.
Okay, as we mentioned a little while ago, many years ago, I guess it was about 20 years ago or somewhere along there, I can't remember, maybe 15 years ago, Wayne Countyans, through the support of the state of Georgia, I guess they had to say, yes, you can pass this referendum, pass a referendum that people 65 and over had the right to vote whether they wanted to continue to pay property taxes, school taxes, and the Wayne Countyans said no. So if you're 65 and above, you pay your county taxes, but you don't pay your Board of Education taxes. And as Bob just mentioned, there's no other county in the state of Georgia that has that he could find. Someone just said, none of you guys are over 65. Now, if you're 65 and above, you like the fact that you don't have to pay that money out of your pocket. And I'm 1 year away from being over 65, so this person just sent that in. So, there's mixed feelings about that, because a lot of times when people do get older, they get on those fixed incomes, and that helps them save a little bit of money. But when it comes to helping, the Board of Education and funding the projects, it hurts there, so you have to come up with monies another way, and E-Splosh is one of those. Will there be committees set up to educate the public on the E-Splosh? Forms held to answer questions?
Yes, we're in the process now trying to form those committees, and because we can't use school funds, school resources, even school employees during the school day, that sort of thing, to promote these Splosh. We have to be kind of careful of that and make sure we're within the letter of the law. I'm a little bit different. I'm the superintendent 365 days, 24/7, so I can do a little bit more than some of our employees. So we do need our community, our citizens, and they've done a great job of that in the past, and we'll be contacting them folks, or please contact me if you're interested in trying to help promote this, because we do need to educate the taxpayers, and I think if they're educated and get the facts about what's going on, it's they vote how they vote, but at least we want them educated.
Okay, and someone just said that they're going to vote for the East Blush because it benefits the over 5,000 students that we have in here, which is the future of this community.
Absolutely, and some of the things we were trying to begin, like the ROTC program, we jumped out there, we had the opportunity to begin it, but we don't have them in a state-of-the-art facility. We have them in mobile units right now, and they, that's a program we wanted to start, but to progress that, and that's just one program, to progress that, we're going to need those funds. 2 meals is all we could raise. We just can't do those types of things. We've talked about a new ag facility. We have a tremendous FFA program and ag science program at the high school, and those kids compete at the state and national level every year, and they deserve a up-to-date ag facility where we can have some of these big shows and bring in, again, that brings people in the community, and it just helps the whole tax digest when you're able to do those types of things.
Another question text in, it says the board office seems to be very top-heavy with management, with the addition of 2 new management folks there. I'm not going to mention names. Seems to have large salaries. So your answer to that, the addition of 2 folks that got large salaries, maybe you're top-heavy in management. How do you answer that question?
But that's always going to be, and I understand that those folks, the central office, that's easily criticized. But I can tell you, with the state and federal guidelines that we have to stay on top of in order to keep our funds flowing from the state and federal government, the new ESSA, the Every Student Succeeds Act that was just passed, a lot of red tape and things to deal with requires that. I mean, we're a small, medium-sized district is what we are, and so to have extra folks at the central office, I think it's going to improve our effectiveness and efficiency. So that's why those decisions were made.
You spend a few $1,000s on salary to get money in from the state and feds that could be billions over a period of time. It's basically what you're kind of saying, right?
That's right. When you look at our school system, if you look at administration, what percentage of that is our budget? It's very minuscule.
Yeah. A lot of times I'll tell folks, everybody's got the right to have their opinion on something like that, but you don't walk in the shoes of people who do these jobs, then make a decision on whether you think they're useful or not.
That's right.
But I just know from being a past chairman of the Chamber of Commerce and active in the community for the past since 1992, and what businesses, what industry, what people look for when they move into a community, because we are in competition with all the other communities around in the state and basically the South. You've got to stay on top. You've got to be progressive. You've got to be, leading the way to continue to try to grow. And hopefully we'll continue to do that. And one of the top things they look at is education.
Sure.
Quality of life, things of that sort, in addition to, taxes and availability of land and resources and things of that sort.
And you have to decide what you want. How important is education to our community? I mean, that's the bottom line. We talk, you can talk about details and really get into weeds about, decisions, and we're certainly not perfect. I make mistakes every day, but at the end of the day, the way I look at it, how's your system doing compared to the systems around you? And I can show you where we're ranked in the top 5. That's never happened before. So is that worth any extra money that we're spending or investing? And I can show you we have a fund balance. We're not borrowing money. So I look at it no more complicated than that. Is our system competing with the surrounding systems, or students being provided opportunities throughout our school system that are comparable around us? We're rural Southeast Georgia. There's some things we have to battle, but I think we're doing a good job.
Yeah, a lot of folks feel just like a couple of folks here that just texted in. They feel the continuation, it's not additional tax, the continuation of the East Blush will benefit Wayne County, the students, and everyone in this community tremendously. With the continuation of the East Blush, it's just 1 penny. And like I said, if you go out of town, you're going to pay there. So we need to stay on top. A lot of people feel that way from the emails, text messages that have come in. Let's see here. Question here. Can you give an example of other Georgia counties who have senior tax exemptions with caps that are our size population? No, we're the only ones that don't even have any caps. We're total, but is there ones that have caps?
There are, and it varies. A lot of counties do, the first it's, you know, supposed to be like a homestead exemption. So, you know, they're exempt up to maybe $100,000 worth of, you know, home and land,
right?
Or 75,000, 50,000, whatever it sets at. Ours is total. So what you get into, and that was the intent, is what you mentioned before. Folks that are on fixed income, that sort of thing, they've kind of paid their dues, and that was the intent. But what's happened is, you know, when you have someone that has a lot of land and they have a business on the land, and they have a business that generates other income, and they have family members that all live on the land, and nobody pays school taxes, that gets tough to compete with. I mean, that's $2 million not coming in.
Well, the thing about it is we've had to live with it for all these years. We're going to continue to live with it. I know many years ago, you know, you had one state legislature who started taking a look at it, and then the heat came down. So, yeah, I don't think that's ever going to change in Wayne County.
No, I understand. That's the political world, and that is a tough issue because you don't want to penalize, you know, our folks that have been here and worked all their lives and kind of paid their dues and now they're on a fixed income. You don't want to hamstring them, and I agree with that 100%. But with no kind of cap and restrictions, it's being taken advantage of, in my opinion.
Yeah, some people are taking advantage of it and, you know, getting around the loopholes.
Correct.
The referendum is already out. People I know, where can they go and visibly see it before they go in and vote in November? Like, is there somewhere they can go on a website and see what the referendum says and what the projects are?
It should be on our website, but if it's not, I'll make sure it gets up there by the end of the day. There'll be a link on our Wayne County school system webpage. There'll be a link right there on the front. You should be able to find East Blas referendum.
Okay.
So we'll put it there where it's easy to find.
So people can read about it. You're going to have forums between now and the November, so folks can give comments, ask questions. You're going to be here on a regular basis, and people can text in questions and comments at 427-3711. You know, an informed public is a good thing.
Yes, sir. And I appreciate the questions, appreciate the time. Please don't hesitate to give me a call.
Okay.
Appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
Dr. Jay Brinson, Superintendent of Schools in Wayne County, our special guest this morning, talking about the East Blas for the Board of Education, the continuation of the East Blas that folks in Wayne County will vote on in November. Dr. Brinson, Jay, have a great day. All right. World famous Butch and Bob Show brought to you by Mike Birch Ford in Blackshear, by Jesup Premium Storage out here on the Waycross Highway, and by Murphy Builder Supply located on